Alice, who is a 30-year-old woman, that goes into the bathroom when she receives a call from her husband, Eric. It is 2 in the morning. Eric wakes her up kindly and informs her that they have a meeting with a fertility specialist later. His wife is indirectly involved by cheating on him with her partner John. In the next scene, the two bail out of the motel and they are back on the road once more. In the process, they expose themselves to the public, and it is seen that they are trying to conceive but are unable to. But on the side of Eric, it is depicted that he is very supportive and caring. However, John realizes that the fuel gauge is almost empty, and he is slightly perplexed as he sent the fuel station the previous day. Still, as he drives through the car, he stops at a nearby gas station to fix the situation. So as he goes to the nearest filling station to buy fuel for the car, Alice goes inside the store to order a cup of coffee. At the same time, we notice the car is spewing gasoline, and this probably why it ran out of gas. Spotted a huge poster that says, "God is nowhere" in big letters right outside the station. In the store, Alice goes straight to the cash register to pay for the item on the counter, but there was no attendant, so just dropped the money on the counter. Just then, she spots something horrifying. There is blood spattered on the walls, and as soon as she reaches for the door to leave, a lonely shooter intends to pull the trigger towards her arms. Then there is the shooting where she is targeted, and despite falling back, Alice is somehow able to find her way to some cover. Still, she is seeking attention, help, and support, and no one seems to notice it. It rather emerges that John is playing loud music, and he cannot even tell what is going on inside. After applying a tourniquet around her injured arm, looking out cautiously, Alice gains a small glimpse of what's outside. She turns around, and all of a sudden a bullet flies past her head, and this is when she comes to the realization that there is a sniper who is on her billboard. Now she is left in a very precarious position. Alice then decides to stretch her hand to pick her phone, which is few meters away from her, but as she stretched to grab it, the sniper fires a shot which destroys it. Meanwhile, with no time left, Alice thinks of another way of survival, and she sees the CCTV footage and realizes that there is an exit door. Then she heard a voice from somewhere. Without looking around, she suddenly sees a walkie-talkie on a desk nearby, although getting there is still very risky because the desk is in sniper range. And so, wisely, Alice forms a plan. She tosses some chips out in air. The sniper fires at them. She hurries to get the walkie-talkie. The man is being asked about his wife named Amelia, to which Alice replies asking him to call the police. In the meantime, John realizes that he is running out of fuel again, and he finally realizes that there is a patchable hole in his gas tank. He enters the store to check on Alice. Just as he sees her, he is shot in the neck. John hits the ground and begs for Alice to help him, but the sniper shoots him a second time and gets the job done. After that terrifying event, Alice is trying to retrieve the walkie-talkie that was thrown into the open space by using a mop stick. Then she tells the man her name and how she got the condition in mini market. When the man asks about his wife, once more Alice tells him there is no one else in this room. As soon as he hears this information, he rapidly makes a distress call to summon police assistance. Then he assures Alice that help will come within 15 minutes. However, at once he laughs like a madman and reveals that it was him who pulled trigger on John's head. That is not enough. They also add, if Alice does not want to speak with him, then he will come down there. Alice casts her eyes on the room and notices some light switches. She thinks to herself that if it gets dark inside the store, she will have a better chance of escaping. Alice picked up random objects and started throwing them towards the switchboard, but they don't work. At this stage, she sees that the shelf behind which she is hiding has rollers. Alice slowly moves the shelf as bullets spray at her. She successfully jumps up and puts down the lights. A few minutes later, Alice tries to reach someone else via radio. However, all his calls get connected to that sniper. The man says there are no other people apart from him, Alice and Amelia here. Amelia is dead, according to Alice, while the shooter admits killing his spouse for infidelity. In a moment, car pulling up to the gas station, and a man named Doug steps out of it to go inside and look for Amelia. His girlfriend Alice sees him and quickly tells him to get down because she says that there is a sniper that is going to kill anyone around. And Alice tells him to call the police so they could all be saved, but unfortunately Doug left his phone in his car when he parked there. Alice explains that his wife has already been killed by her husband, but shocked Doug denies the murderer's claim of Amelia's marriage. It's Only after the guy reaches the counter does it click on her mind that ever since Doug came into the store, there has been no sound of shots coming from outside, even from the sniper. She is thus suspicious about whether or not he's actually the killer, though he honestly insists otherwise. He also said that he too works night shifts as Amelia, and came here just to check on his lover. So Alice is bewildered as a result, and she does not know who to trust, as she still has some doubts about the whole thing. So Doug advises her to go and talk to the murderer instead, because time is running out now, and the sniper remains quiet. As such, Alice begs him to get his cell phone from his car in order that he can prove that he is not the shooter. She will do what she can to prevent the sniper from doing something awful. He is worried about trying it on his vehicle because it seems too risky, but when Alice continues to insist, he finally assents. Unfortunately, on reaching his car, he believes that perhaps he could take the phone off its holder, but he was shot and killed. His phone broke too. So he was telling the truth. The sniper was not him. Alice is sad. She sent Doug to his death. The real sniper talks on the radio. He says she is a murderer. She sent Doug to die. She knew he wouldn't live. He wants the truth. He knew Alice was there. She makes drugs. They harm many people. Alice says her company makes medication. She is a social media boss. The shooter says she spreads drugs by saying they're good. The shooter knows Alice's firm and says Alice was greedy. She rolls by lying and betraying others. The shooter thinks Alice should die. This sad person says Alice lied about a man to get ahead. The man got fired and can't look after his sick kid. As he keeps talking, Alice sees many umbrellas and decides to act. Whether the person on the walkie-talkie was Amelia's husband is unsure. It's not clear if the attack on Alice was planned or random. As the shooter goes on, Alice lines up some umbrellas. He sees her and shoots. Alice gets to the door, but it's locked. She looks for stuff to break it, but it doesn't work. A man comes to get gas, but his cart doesn't work, so he leaves. The shooter doesn't shoot at him. Alice pleads with the shooter because she can't have kids. It's hard on her marriage. Surprise! Sniper knows she cheats on husband. He scolds her for bad woman, says world could be better without her. Sees police car, but it quickly passes. She leaves store, goes to John's car quiet. Sniper asks where she is. Tries to get in John's car. Sniper shoots her. Has to go back in store. Gets shot in thigh. She writhes in pain, loses consciousness, manages to stop bleeding. Sniper keeps talking about humanity. She takes a hacksaw and tries to open the lock, but she hurts her hand. Annoyed, she takes the radio and says it will take more than killing her to fix his issues. She calls him Henry and shows she understands. But then, the sniper only asks, "Who's Henry?" A bit later, one more car stops at the place. A very old guy comes out to put gas in his car, but sadly sees Doug's dead body and gets very scared. This alarms the shooter, and he quickly shoots the old guy. To make things worse, the guy's wife also comes out while Alice tries very hard to signal her to hide, but she's too late. The shooter also shoots the old lady. So an innocent couple is cruelly killed right in front of one another. The killer then tells Alice that they have the same bad gene, which she will give to her not yet born child. Alice says they're not similar and admits she decides to not have kids so they don't get sad and end up a person who hides in the dark, killing innocent people like the shooter. She sees a small girl in the car. The girl's grandparents are killed. The girl is scared. Alice talks to the shooter. She asks him to save the girl. He asks if she would die for the girl. Alice says yes. The shooter gives her 2 minutes to move the girl. She tells the girl to run, but she hides instead. Alice blocks the door and cuts the lock. The shooter gets down from high place and goes to the shop. Alice breaks the lock but finds the door shut. She's sad. She must deal with the shooter. She hides, grabs weapons. The shooter is in, looks around. He asks Alice if he's sent by her man, a fired friend trying to steal job, or a sad dad who lost his girl due to her drugs. The man turns a corner. Alice jumps out. She hits him with a rod, but this is not enough to stop him. He hits back. They fight. The girl watches. A gun makes noise. Alice falls down. The man goes to the girl. He tries to hide. Alice hits him with a thing. She drags him to a press. She does not see who he is. The press crushes his head. She will not know who he was. The girl goes out. She goes down the road. The sun is up.
Subscribe Popcorn Talk for more fun and entertainment like ABD Share,